Hello YouTube world, and welcome back to my workshop. What we're going to do this week is the second part of the trilogy of natural edge bowls. So this week what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a vase. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of that dog leg on the end, on there. So I need to get that on the bandsaw, slice that off, just be left with this piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it, cut into there, turn the edge. I'm going to roll that edge right over so the edge will be coming down there somewhere, and then we'll leave that bark on for the natural edge bowl. So first things first, let's go on to the bandsaw. There we go. How's that? Slightly bigger than that. I'm going to make that the top of my vase and make that the bottom. So I've got my log between centres. I've got a live centre on this end, I've got a step centre on this end, which is like a whole series of prongs that are pushed into the wood to drive it. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn a tenon on this end so that I can get that set in the jaws so it's held in there a lot firmer. So you see on there, I just need to make that tenon a little bit deeper, otherwise I'd just be holding on that tiny little bit there, which is no good. It's lovely. So I've got tenon turned on that end, I've got it back into the chuck so it's held nice and firmly. So the first thing I want to do is straighten this end up, and then I just want to curve this edge over, and that will give me some idea of where my rim wants to go. So we'll do that first because that will also tell me it's important that that centre is in the dead centre, so that when I curve it over, the rim stays exactly equal all the way around the outside. Right, let's turn some wood. Okay, so that's pretty much defined the top of my vase. So what I want to do now is turn a foot on the bottom there, take that right in, and then undercut there, and then take that down to that sort of shape there. So we'll start by turning the foot on there. As you can see from there now, what I've done is I've moved that is the old centre there. I've actually moved the centre over to there, which has allowed me to start cutting. It's still not absolutely perfect, but we're not far off there. And it's giving me equal bark right the way around there. I'm still not cutting there. I'm still not cutting in there yet. If I put a pencil mark on there, and I'll stop it in a minute, and you'll be able to see where I'm cutting. I didn't make this very clear in the video, but because the bark is being cut unequally, it's thicker in one place than the other. If I carried on turning it the way I would have turned all that bark away on one side. So what you have to do is move the centre across. I moved it about 1/4 of an inch, which then allowed me to cut the wider piece of the bark off and still leaving a thin piece. And then I ended up with an even band right the way around the rim of the bowl. So you see this pencil mark still on there, so I'm still not cutting in there. I'm still not cut across there either. Let's take a bit more off. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'll just redefine that edge on there, and then we'll look at undercutting in there. That's me the top rim of our bowl. The spark I'm going to leave on there, and what I want to do now is just undercut there to just underneath there somewhere, and then that will give me the rim of the vase. So what we've done, I've taken it down, redefined that, I've taken that all down in there, so that just needs sanding up. The base is turned. That wood is ever so wet. It's a lot wetter than what I thought it was when I started using it. But anyway, we'll sand that down, and then we get to hollowing the actual vase. Okay, so that's all nicely sanded down now, and I'm just going to put some cellulose sanding sealer on there. It's a product by Chestnut, and I do delete mine. I buy the sand sealer, and then I buy a cellulose thinner to go with it, and I dilute it down. I have said in a previous video about this sand and sealer that the man from Chestnut will tell you not to dilute it. I mean, what he says, it's made to sit on top of the wood, not to soak in. Well, the first coat will soak in and make a barrier, and then when you put the second coat on, it will just sit on top of the wood. But as I said before, everybody I ever spoke to who uses cellulose sealer, they always tell you to dilute it so it will soak into the wood further. There you go, I'll just spin that up, buff it up, and I'll just give it a very light sanding down and then give it another coat. Alright, I'm not going to bother. I usually put Hampshire sheen polish on there. I'm not going to bother because that wood is quite wet, and I don't think it would shine very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that with the sanding sealer on there for the time being. I'm going to hollow it out, and then I'll leave it. I'll leave the tenon on the back, so that what I can do is leave it, let it dry, and then I can polish it up at a later date. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to hollow in there. What I'll do is I'll get a forcing a bit, drill in as far as I can just to hollow it, and then go on in and take all the middle out. So that's the hole drilled out in the middle now. I put I think that was about a 30mm spade bit I put down in there in the end to take most of that out. And then we get to hollowing, and I'll just change the camera around so you can get a better view of that. So you can see that a lot better now. There's a hole I put down through there, and so what I want to do now is just hollow over this way. So let's get to work. Let's turn some wood. Sure, if that wood is really hard and my tool's really blunt. Just give it a sharpen, I'll get back to you. That's better. That central pith of that oak really is rock hard. Now I need to be really careful there that I don't go, oh, that's pretty much as far as I can go. That's pretty much there. I can feel that there's not a lot of wood left there. If I go too far, that's going to come flying off like a donut, and we don't want that. That feels pretty good around there. It's got uniform thickness around to there. I've got a little bit of a ridge on there where that burn meets the white. I'll just take that off, and then I'll carry on down in there and hollow all that out. I need to keep stopping that and feeling that, because although I want to get that down quite thin, I've got to be so careful I don't go through the edge of that. So we're getting there, very nearly there. You see by that sawdust just how wet that is. How that's just binding together rather than just falling off as dust. Okay, that's pretty much cleaned up in there now. Got to the bottom there, I've taken a little bottom piece, little spigot at the bottom, and that just needs sanding. When I sand that, I've got various things, bits of stick and stuff that I use to put in there. I was talking to somebody one day, and he said he was cleaning out, he had a piece of rag and was just polishing inside of a hollow vessel, and the rag grabbed, and it took his finger clean off. So I think that was a very good lesson to be learned. Don't go putting anything there. That's one of the reasons I always use paper towel on the outside. I don't use rag, just use paper towel, so if it does grab at all, it will just rip the paper rather than ripping my finger. I'm rather attached to my fingers. As fat and as podgy as they are, I quite like them. All 10 of them. So that's what I'll do now. I'll just clean up inside of there and sand it all down, and then we'll come back. That should be pretty much a finished article. Well, there we go, YouTube world, all done. Another project finished. Okay, and as you can see, I managed to keep the bark on all the way around this time. Nicely collared. Okay. I think maybe a piece of wood was either too short. I think the proportions are a little bit out on that one. It's not one of my finest. Put something in the comments, let me see what you think. See what you think. I was quite intent on getting a big curve on there with a ring, and I think probably the wood was too short. If I could have brought it down a little bit further, I could have kept that fatter to keep it all in proportion. So, but still quite a nice piece. I have to say, oak does turn nice, and you do get a lovely smooth finish off of it. My brother told me off, he said I caress the wood too much. I find it very tactile wood. I think when you get a nice curve on it like that, I can't help myself. But there we go. It's quite a nice piece. Quickly turned. Left the bark on all the way around, which was after all the objects of the exercise today. And that's all finished. So there we go. Well, thank you very much for watching. This has been another video by Steve Hunt, and I've had another great day in the workshop, so thank you very much. Bye. If anybody is interested in the changes that I've made in my workshop, or more importantly the changes my brother's made in my workshop just recently, he came down just after Christmas, and I think he is a qualified electrician. And I think he was slightly shocked at the amount of extension cables I had, and so he come in. I know he's extremely busy, so I really do appreciate what he did. So what he's done, he's come in, he's fitted a new fuse box in the house. He's run an armoured cable. You see the armoured cable there. He's run that down from the new fuse box down into the garage. Fitted a fuse box there all on my own. And then he's come in. My workshop is a hell of a mess at the moment. I really need to spend some time down here and clean it up. But then what he's come in and he's put me sockets everywhere I wanted them. So I've got a bank of 4 sockets, double sockets there. I've got a bank, 2 double sockets there. I've got another 2 sockets there. He's put me a socket there, just for the grinder. He's put me, can you see that? Oh yeah, there's another single socket down there, that's just for the lathe to plug in. And I've got over the back of that bobbin sander, you see down there, there's a set of 6 double sockets there, and I've also got a double socket in there just behind that wood. The other great thing he's done, he's come and he's fitted these LED strip lights, and he's also fitted me these LED floodlights. So I've got one there, another one there, and another one there. And what I've done on these, I've just put a single screw through into the rafter, so it allows me to pivot them through 360 degrees that way, and then pivot through probably about 300 degrees that way. So I can move them anywhere in the shop where I'm working. And they're all individually switched. Cheeky sod, he called those grandad switches, because it's those really big wide ones. And that's what he came in and did. All alarmed as well. So, big thank you to my brother for doing that. So I've got pretty much as many, although you can see, what's that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 sockets down there. Pretty much all of them are full up already. So a big thank you to my brother for doing that.